This broadcast is the property of Codependents Anonymous. Reproduction without written permission from Codependents Anonymous is not permitted.
All right. It is 1:32 and we are back. Something popped up on my laptop. The other one. You got it? All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great lunch. And welcome back to all the people on Zoom, all the virtual
Recording
world.
in progress.
All right. So, is everybody set up? We ready to go on the in-person? Can I see this real quick?
Sure. Yes, we're ready to go here. Thank you. Welcome, everybody.
All right. So we're waiting for one more person for the in-person part. Do we know their name and we can go around with the mic and shame them for not being here on time? No, I'm just kidding.
Hi, I'm Katrina. I'm one of the host group members. Been here all week having fun. And if you were on the bus on Thursday night, you know a little bit about my cowboy hat. So I was very clear that was the role I wanted and was assigned. But I just wanted to, well, thank you for all being here and enjoying the Black Hills with us. We love to share the beauty of our state and city. But what I wanted to just kind of announce is some of you are leaving tonight, tomorrow morning. For those of you who are staying over, we're still looking for volunteers. The more hands, the better, the faster it will go, hopefully. We've got to take down the whole room and ship everything back to Arizona before 5 o'clock tomorrow night. So, the screens are ours, the speakers are ours, all the cords are ours, the mics are ours. We've got 3 printers in the events room, 2 computers. So if you're staying over, if you're available, if you're organized, just find either Kathy H., myself, or Tony. This is Tony. I haven't talked to Pat about staying over. I did talk to Gary. So we have been recruiting. Taryn said she would lend us her hands. So maybe we'll put on some rockin' music and, we'll just get it done in a flash. So, and since there was a couple seconds, I just wanted to put that out there so you can think about it.
That is great. Thank you for that reminder. All right, so right now we've got a workshop, and it's called, let's see, right after lunch. They call it Love, a Family Dynamics of Codependency, and it is by Evelyn I. Oh, is it L? Evelyn L. Thank you.
You have to push the button until it turns green.
Here, Tony.
And you have to speak directly into it, please.
Okay, I will do that. All right, we're going to finish giving out these handouts, and then we'll start. Anybody, hold up your hand if you don't have a handout. All right, as you know, my name is Evelyn, and I am really, really happy to be here. I would like to take a minute, and I hope no one objects. I want to take a moment to have a silent prayer for all the codependents that could be here that are not, because they don't know about us, and we would like them to know about us. So just for a minute, please. Let the meditations of my heart and the words of my mouth be pleasing to you today. And please let anyone who needs to see what I am about to share be able to use it for good use. Thank you, God. Amen. My first CoDA meeting was in the fall of 1987. By that time, I had already been in AA for 7 years. And I knew the 12 steps. But I felt a little crazy. My father had died. My mother had recently died. I didn't understand the dynamics of my family. I didn't understand the craziness that was going on that I grew up with. And I didn't really even go into AA, which helped me tremendously, didn't help me understand the insanity of my behavior. And my behavior was really insane. I did all kinds of things I didn't want to do. I did all kinds of things against my morals. And mostly, though, I tried to please a lot of people. My goal was to make everybody in the world like me. My goal was to help you, because I was fine. As long as I could focus on you, I didn't have to really worry about me. And so, believe it or not, I was an addictions counselor. And I worked in a treatment center. In fact, several treatment centers. And those patients got more attention than any patient deserves, I tell you. So, before I started that, I was married to a battering alcoholic. For 13 years, I lived with a very abusive, battering alcoholic, and I only left him when he threatened to sit in the garage and kill us if we left the house. By this time, I had 2 small children. They'd both been beaten. It was the children that made me leave, because I didn't really care if he killed me. I was ready to die. I couldn't see a reason to live, except for them, which was my whole purpose. Then I married another man I met in college, because once I left my battering alcoholic, I decided to go to college and learn how to help dysfunctional families. I wanted to help. I wanted to make sure that no one, okay. I wanted to make sure that other people didn't end up in marriages with battering alcoholics. That was a very simple goal, and that was the main one at the time. So what I would like to do now is I would like to show you the family that I came from. And these wonderful people have volunteered to help me do it. And so we are going to paint you a picture. And Taryn has volunteered to be my pinner. I have signs that she's going to pin on people so that there is a very clear picture that you will see of the dynamics of my family. Okay, Taryn. This is the first one, and it goes on Tony. You want the front? Yes. Not on his skin, right? Oh, yeah, don't hurt his skin. Please put this on Pat. Okay. All right, Tony, would you stand on this chair, please? Stand on, give me your hand. I don't want you to fall.
I'm there.
Okay, so let's try to face the Zoom camera.
Could the could the in-person presentation, please, just a little bit closer? Don't eat your mic, but closer.
Okay, better? All right.
Somewhat.
So,
Big
my
voice.
father was an active alcoholic. He was the identified problem in our house. When he was sober, he was sweet and kind and loving and giving until he had it up to here. And then he drank, and then he became verbally abusive, mean, and put us down tremendously. Lots of violence, no hitting, just punching the walls, killing the dogs. Things that were violent, but not at us. That is very traumatizing when you witness those kinds of things. So, Dad, who is the identified problem, cannot survive unless somebody helps him. So, we got this woman over here who is willing to be my mother, and she's going to stand right in front of Tony. And Tony's going to put his hands on her shoulders, And then every time Tony has a crisis, he's got somebody to hold him up, bail him out. He doesn't have to worry. She's there. And then we got my older brother. It's going to take a minute for her to pin that sign on him, but you can come up here and do it. So the first child in a dysfunctional family is the hero. And the hero is the one who makes the family look normal. So they're married. They have a child. This child happens to be brilliant. He's got an IQ of like 170. Seriously. He does all kinds of amazing things. And so my family looks up to this guy. He's going to be the president of the United States one day, my mother always said. Because he's so smart and he's so good. Well, then we have me. And they'll be over here in a minute. So as the hero grows older, he develops these feelings that are underneath the hero. It doesn't matter how much he gets patted on the head when there's violence and screaming and things going on in the family. So then this is me. I'm the scapegoat in the family. Now I want all of you to point your fingers at her. Point your fingers at her because she's bad. She's worthless. She's shameful. She lives with night terrors and social anxiety. And all of that stuff that you see Taryn pinning on grows over the years. It doesn't, I wasn't born with it. Over the years, it grows. And anybody who wants to come up here and take a picture of this when I'm done, they'll be standing here. If you want this for future reference. Now, as I got older, I became everybody's controller, everybody's manager, everybody's judge and jury. And primarily, though, I was really, really, really angry. And I was really angry mostly at God, because I couldn't understand why he put me in this crazy family.
Evelyn, I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind reading out what's on each page.
I will eventually.
Person.
When we get all done, I will, okay?
Thank you.
Now we have another child that comes into the family. And there's already a hero, so there's no room for him. There's already a scapegoat, so we don't need another one of those. So now we have a lost child. And the lost child is just that. No one pays attention to him. And by the way, the reason these people are wearing caps is because these are all boys. I was the only girl in my family with 5 brothers. The lost child is the child that goes to their room, turns the TV on or turns the music on, escapes from the house every opportunity, does everything they can to avoid this family and the craziness that's going on in it. So now, because I have another lost child in my family, we had 2 of them, she'll be here in a moment. Because she's lost, right? So this is my other brother. He comes into this family. And by the way, we're all 18 months apart. They're just bang, bang, bang. No wonder my mother is so tired. Can you blame her? But the hero, he's out there. He's doing all kinds of amazing stuff. He's playing football. He's bringing home the medals. He's bringing home the trophies. He's doing track. He's doing all kinds of amazing things to make this family look good. And by the way, the scapegoat, the total purpose for a scapegoat in the family is to carry all of the bad stuff that this family incorporates into its dysfunction. So I have one more child. Would please turn your back on this family? Are we within range? I'm trying to pay attention to the Zoom here. Now, this child is so blessed and so welcome. And actually, he's my child. My mother brings him home from the hospital and hands him to me. And I am 7 years old. And he belongs to me. But he's our mascot. And he's our fun one. So what you do, you run around and you tickle all these people, you make them laugh. Because the mascot's job is to lighten the load in the family. This is a heavy family. There's a heavy load here. Don't stop. Now, every once in a while, the problem has a little crisis, but we all move in. We don't tell. We don't share. We protect. Because, after all, we're a good-looking family, right? And we go to church every Sunday. And we go to church every Wednesday night. And we sit in the front pew in our bus clothes. And we fight all the way there, but by golly, we're there. And so, hold your fist up. Because he reigns. According to my mother, he is always right. Right or wrong. All right, so I said I would read these, so I will. So I'll start over here with the mascot, who is running around, so he's trying to make you all laugh. Are you laughing? Okay, so the mascot is over here by the hero. These, I want you to know, are the two most important people in the family, the mascot and the hero. The lost child is nowhere to be found, and the scapegoat is doing her best to stay out of trouble, but cannot do it. So the mascot develops into a shameful, death-defying mascot with fears of abandonment. And this lost child, he gets into a lot of car wrecks. He almost died a couple of times, spent a year in the hospital. He is bad, worthless, shameful, has lots of suicidal thoughts and fears of abandonment. I'm very close to my brothers. So, because I was their caretaker and I was the one they confided in. This lost child has social anxiety, avoidance issues. He's bad. He's worthless. He disassociates, and he has fears of abandonment. This mother couldn't be more perfect. She goes to church. She reads the Bible. She does everything a good mother could do, except she is so darn busy having kids, she can't pay attention to the ones she's already got. But she's hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. And if you go to her with a problem, that's what she says. It'll be all right, dear. This hero develops feelings of being bad, worthless. He's dead inside. And he started to be dead inside at about the age of 6 when he was sexually abused. He's on guard all the time, and he's mean. He's hyper mean as a teenager. He picks on all the rest of us. And he has fears of abandonment. All I have to do to get him shape up is be mad at him, give him the silent treatment. Man, he's right there. He doesn't want to be abandoned. None of us do. And the mascot, we already talked about her, right? I'm not telling you a whole lot about the identified problem. He's an alcoholic. He went to work in the 4th grade and supported his whole family of 10 before he met my mother, and that's enough said. He drank a lot. He drank to kill his pain. And I always took it personally until I became an alcoholic myself. And then I realized it's not personal. It's just trying to avoid feeling all the feelings that's going on in you. So then, the scapegoat. And this is me. And I know me better than any of the rest of them. So that's why I put all these feelings on for me. As a child, I was taught to be a peacemaker, a caretaker, and a manager. I was at the well. We lived on a farm. I was at the well washing diapers when I was 6 years old, before I could go to school. And because my mom had too much to do and we didn't have running water in the house, and we didn't have a washing machine. We had one of those old crank things. So then I developed feelings of being shameful, bad, worthless. I had a lot of social anxiety. I couldn't figure out why anybody would want to be around me. I had night terrors. I'd wake up in the middle of the night screaming for my mom, and she would come. I had fears of abandonment, and so I attached myself to her much, much tighter. And we became very enmeshed because it's the two of us against the world. We are the two against the world. And I am her leaning post. I am her confidant. I am the one who helps her, who watches her go to the window and watch for my dad to drive up. I am the one who takes the kids after she has them. Then I thought I was pretty hot. I mean, hey, you can do all that. You can be the warden. You can be the rescuer. You can be the pinch hitter. And most of all, you can be the judge and the jury, because you have earned it. All right, I'd like to everybody take a deep breath. I need to take a deep breath. And I want to read to you the messages I got from my mom and my dad. These are the rules my mother made. And she said to me, "You are a person like no other. So be a nice girl, dear, and swallow all your tears. Don't be loud or stand out in the crowd. It's a sin to be mad or act real sad. Ladies don't wear their hearts on their sleeve or let anyone see their need. We have to be willing to suffer for beauty, but don't ever neglect your duty. Give of yourself and be real cute. Whatever you do, keep your smart brain mute. And take care of your father, dear. In the ways of the world, he's not too smart. And don't ever show anyone your heart." That's what my mother said. Now, my father, he said, Tony, I want you to hold up your fist, and I want you to put your hand on this shoulder right here. And this is what my father said. Be smart, be good, be proud, and always stand out in a crowd. The world is full of danger, but you can protect yourself with your anger. Hit first, ask questions last, and don't let any slight go past. Always guard your good name, and when things go wrong, find someone to blame. Protect your honor at all cost, lest your virginity be lost. You are little, but you're tough, so your words should be enough. You're a chip off the block. We need no one because we're strong. Oh, and you come from hardy stock. We need no one because we're strong. Never let anyone tell you that you're wrong. And by the way, honey, take care of your mother. She's a lady like no other. And make sure your brothers toe the line. They are the fruit of my vine. So that's the messages that I remembered after I got into treatment and started taking a look at my family. And this is my family. And if anyone would like to snap a picture, now's the time. My first step is the surrender to the idea that my family is nuts. They are freaking crazy. And I always knew that at some level. And so that's why I'm the troublemaker. Because I would say things like, he's drunk. You know? Or I would say things like, we were supposed to be someplace an hour ago and we're not there. Or I would say, where the heck is Dad? I can't find him. And my mother would send me to the bar to look for him. Because I was the one who could bring him home. Not her, me. So there was a real power struggle between me and God and between me and my mother. And that is the second step, the insanity. This is insane. But so many of us live this way because we don't know any better. Okay. Does anybody have any comments that they would like to share?
Hi, Jenna.
All right. So you guys can sit down.
Hi, does anybody on Zoom have a question or a comment?
You can sit.
If you do, if you raise your hand, then I'll be able to call on you.
All right. Now we're going to do how dysfunctional families.
Reminder that this is a recording for those who are wanting to not be recorded. Maybe you could put your question in the chat.
Okay. What we're going to do now is I'm going to teach you how dysfunctional families communicate. So those of you who are willing, I would like very much for you to stand up in the aisle or in a space, and I'm going to show you 4 dysfunctional communication patterns. So I'll give you like 2 minutes to stand up. Just stand where you are. So the first dysfunctional pattern, and the thing that I learned from my mother, is to be a placater. Down on one knee, if you can. If you can't, use a chair. Put your hand over your heart. Look up, because there's nobody down here. And you say, please love me. please tell me how to please you. And please do not leave me. So this is called the placator. Now, we have the angry person. And the angry person, stand again, goes like this, and points his finger, and he says, "It's all your fault.
It's all your fault.
I wouldn't have to drink if it wasn't for you. Everybody in this family would be perfectly fine if you weren't in it."
If everybody in this world would be fine if you weren't in it.
And I'm sorry to say I actually said that to my mother when I was 13 years old, because I was blaming her for everything that was going on, because she was the responsible one. All right, so keep your pose. And this is the computer. Now, how you be the computer is you put your head up like this, you stiffen and you put your hands by your side, and you walk around. You walk around, and you say, there is nothing important in life.
There's nothing important in life.
Except facts, statistics, and my opinions. And you keep walking. And this person, she plays all the parts. She does it all. So you go down on one knee. And by the way, do you know that this is a codependency stance? And do you know how many codependents it takes to change a light bulb? No. None. You guys go have fun. I'll just stay home. So she plays that role, and she plays the anger role, and she is furious, and she blames everybody for her problems. And then that doesn't work, so she plays the computer role. And now the last role is the mascot. And that is, she kills herself trying to be funny. So what I want you to do is I want you to turn around and make faces at somebody in the crowd. And I want you to make them laugh. We got some really good mascots here. All right. Thank you, guys. Now, what I need you to do is go back to being your original family. So I need you to go back on your chair.
Well, I get a raise.
I need the rest of you to all come up and stand where you were. These lost children just keep wanting to stay lost, don't they? What are we going to do with them? They just disappear. I know. All right, so I want to read this to you, and I'm sure it'll be on the screen in a minute. And this is things that I felt, and the saving grace in my life is being able to write, and being able to write my feelings. And so I can't always say what I want to say. I'm nervous and scared, and I lose my way. Sometimes I'm anxious and helpless and weak, and I can't find the courage that I seek. I'm often too serious, and I give too much. I get lost in a world that's just too tough. I'm not good at numbers. I panic at details. I live in fear that I'm going to fail. Sometimes I feel so little inside. that all I want to do is hide. And then I muster up all my pride and make you laugh while I cringe inside. But once I found the program, I added to this poem.
Some days I'm brilliant. Some days I'm dumb. I can't always predict if I'll stand still or run. I'm learning to live and to find balance in song. I know I have to surrender in order to be strong. In spite of myself, how I behave often ruins the perfection that I crave. I remain a mixture of good and bad, bright and dark, happy and sad. I'm seeking recovery from a faulty path, so glad that God got my attention at last. I honor him the best I can, letting go of that which drives me insane.
A little bit more about me. I went to work for the South Dakota Department of Alcoholism as an educator. My job was to travel around the state and teach people how to recognize alcoholism. And in the process of doing my job, I contacted all the ministers in South Dakota, and I set up meetings across the state. And my third meeting was in Rapid City, South Dakota. And I called ahead to the AA club, and I had them send 12 people to the conference, which was right, I think it might even been here, not sure. Anyway, they came, and the ministers are asking questions, and these 12 people are answering them. And in the process of their answering them, I discover that I'm an alcoholic. How can that be? I'm never going to be like him. Never. But I am. And so the beginning of my recovery turned out with this job that God put me into. Why, I don't know. Because my dad was an alcoholic, they hired me because they couldn't find anybody else. It doesn't matter. I got the job. And in that process, I discovered that I was an alcoholic. So then from this job, they sent me to a week-long treatment in Rapid City to help me understand what families of alcoholics go through, like I didn't already know. But I went to that week long, and at the end of the week, I wanted to kill myself. I was suicidal. I wanted to die. I did not want to admit that I was anything like that man. And yet I was. And so I came back to Pierre, where I was living, and I wrote this poem. And it helped me continue on my journey. And I'm still on this journey. God, help me to be strong and true. Let me put my faith in you. I tremble like a captive bird, straining, listening for your word. Please take away all my fear and say my name so I might hear your love for me come through, that I might find my life anew. And let me, Lord, look back on time and able to give up the muck and the slime. remembering only what is good, and change me from a block of wood to one who believes that your word is true. And oh, dear God, please let me be whatever it is you want for me. My only hope for life at all is to let you carry the ball. Take my life and set me free from needless pain and agony. And let my troubled heart be still, that I may be open to your will. The worried, lingering doubts that lurk must be dispelled to do your work. So grant, dear Lord, that I may find the lovely, heavenly peace of mind that can only come through you. And with that, I'd like to stop. I would like to have you turn and talk to the person next to you. And if there's no one next to you, find somebody. I've just dumped a lot on you, and it might be really important for you to share with each other. And then we'll come back and we'll conclude. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for this opportunity.
All right. We had you guys muted on the virtual platform, so is everybody back now?
Not quite.
Okay.
Making their way.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol. And when they come back, she's going to have one more small exercise before we go back into sharing.
Great. There's a question here, a hand up. Can I ask Teresa?
While we're waiting for the visual, virtual people to get back, what I would really like you to do is find one person, turn your chair toward that person. So that you are face to face. One person. So does everybody have one person they can look directly at, face to face? There's no. Tony, Steve, we need you over here with this person. Okay, now does everybody have one person? All right. Because in my life, I found it so difficult to be open and to say no. And even I had years of therapy, and my therapist would always say, no is a complete sentence. Practice with me, Evelyn. N-O. That was hard. So we're going to leave this workshop on a high note with a yes-no exercise. So quickly decide who's A and who's B. Very quickly. All right, we got it? Okay, so the A's say no. Just very clearly, no, no, no. And the B's say yes, yes, yes. Okay, so go. Okay, stop. Quick check-in. What's easiest to say, yes or no? No. So how many people found it easier to say no? And how many people found it easier to say yes? Okay, so we're pretty evenly distributed. I want to just share with you one little secret. I went to a workshop where they made us do this, and after I got home, I actually could say no. Because we had done it, we had practiced it, and I got it. Woohoo! So we have a little treat for you, and you are done. I thank you so very much for being here. Bob back there's got a little song for you.
All right. Do you have some time for some questions? All right. It looks like we have one virtual question. You want to take it, Carol?
Teresa, do you have a question? Therese. If you have a question, you can unmute. No. Okay. I'll lower your hand.
Do we have any in person? Okay. And could we ask that you come up here so that the virtual can see you? She doesn't want to come up? Okay. You don't have to. Oh, stand up there. You'll be next. You can say no. You just practiced.
But this is an alternative. This is Plan C. My question, comment and question, thank you for your work. Thank you for your work, of course. And so I'm the only one in my family in recovery, which has always been a source of pain for me. Unfortunately for me, a lot of family members have benefited from my recovery, but they're not in recovery actually. So the repercussions are that the development or the follow-up is that my family they're separated, but we do love each other and we do communicate and we do some events together. We have some fun together and holidays and things. But I think what I want to know is your family in recovery? Are you still intact as a family? I mean, of course, we age and things change and people move away and they come back. But is your family fluid in terms of a family unit? Are they or are they intact?
I am the only person in my family in recovery. And I and one other brother are the only two people left. They died of alcoholism or accidents. The risk takers died of accidents. The rest of them died from alcoholism. My mother died from a stroke, which I know was brought on by all of her trauma. So yeah, I'm in recovery, but I'm the only one. And I know what you mean. I prayed and prayed and prayed. I wanted to be one of those families where everybody sat around the table and talked recovery. But guess what? I got 3 kids, and we talk recovery.
Do we have any virtual questions?
There's no hands at the moment, but just a gentle reminder, if you would like to ask a question, raise your virtual hand. Darlene.
Hi, Darlene, codependent. We do not have that beautiful God poem on the links virtually that was submitted, so if there was any way you're willing to share that. And then I was curious if you'd be willing to share those beautiful poems with the literature committee to be able to incorporate in the next version of something. They're just really beautiful and really capture a lot of what a lot of us are going through. So thanks for considering and thanks for the workshop.
All of the people here have a copy of that poem. I wasn't able to email it to you, but I will. And I would be honored to share my poetry. thank you for asking.
All right. I agree that poetry is amazing. And then we have another in-person question.
I want to thank you so much. That was so informative. I do have a question. I love the prayer, and I love everything we were taught. Is it in a CoDA dependency form at all? I mean, we're in CoDA. Are you in CoDA? So I just wanted to know if, we can endorse in CoDA.
I am in CoDA. The material that I presented is not CoDA approved. I would love it if it would be. I also have 5 books in the gift shop. I would love those to be CoDA approved. And so I don't know what else to say.
Sure. Thank you so much. You were wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Does Carol have a question?
A question in the chat. So there's a question if the facilitator would like to provide their email address.
Am I the facilitator? Or mine?
I think it probably mean Evelyn, the presenter.
Yeah, presenter. Would you?
I'd be happy to. It's
Great.
Evelyn at evelynlighty.com.
Okay, so can I pop in what you've written to me from? Is that a good one?
Yes.
Great, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, any other in person?
She has one over there.
Okay. All right. Do you want to come up? Or? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciated your workshop. Touched my heart. I saw your books in the bookshop before yesterday, and I was wondering. I saw that you have 5 books there. Is there a sequence to your books, or would we just grab one, or do you have a recommendation on an order if we wanted to follow you more?
They're a series. Series starts out with Just Fine, Thank You. That's my childhood. That's our stock answer in our family. How are you guys? Just fine, thank you.
I actually heard the request from the online community about the song. I'm sure it's on YouTube or whatever, but it's Toby Keith, All About Me.
I want to talk about
me. The link
me.
has been provided in the chat. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you guys for handling that. Do you want to come up here, or would you rather be? Oh, okay.
There's another question from the chat whenever you're ready.
There is? Okay, we have one more in person, then we'll go to there.
Okay.
So Evelyn, you said your first book is, you said your first book is
Just Fine, thank you.
What is the rest of the sequential order? I'm just curious.
I'm not comfortable talking about them since they're not CoDA approved literature,
Okay, all right.
but I'll talk to you afterwards. Anyone who wants to talk after, I'll be here.
Oh, okay. She's done. Okay.
Question.
And then there's one virtual. We'll go virtual with her.
So there's a couple questions from the chat, so I'll give one. And then here it says, could Evelyn give an example of talking recovery with your children?
My children grew up with a mother in AA. Originally, my 2 older children were, I think, ages 14 and 19 by the time I found AA, so they actually saw a drunk mother. But not very often, because what I did was I hid my drinking from my children. But my behavior, of course, was that of a very dysfunctional person. My youngest child went to AA with me a lot because babysitters were hard to come by. what we do as a family is we talk about recovery, we talk about feelings, we talk about AA, we talk about codependency. My middle son actually helps me do workshops on codependency, and he's very, very brilliant about coming up with things that I forget. My older son, all of my kids have been to treatment, by the way, codependency treatment. And my youngest son has been to alcoholism treatment. So we talk, we share everything, and sometimes they tell me things I don't even want to know. Any other questions?
Yeah, Carol.
We have a couple more.
Okay, go
Joy.
for it.
Unmute yourself, Joy. Welcome to.
Sorry. In my breakout session, some of us wondered if we had maybe switched between roles at times in our life. We started as a kind of a hero and then later became a lost child or something.
Absolutely. Most people play all those roles at one time in their life or another.
Okay.
Do we have any more in-person questions? Nope. Okay. Carol, you had your hand up for a chat.
Yeah, a chat one. Question to Evelyn. Does the lost child also have patterns of migrating to another country to get far away, the geographical cure, or is that more a pattern of the hero risk taker?
The lost child just disappears. He either disappears in his own home, he disappears in his whole neighborhood, he disappears in school. He's the child who's left behind at the gas station because he went to the bathroom and nobody missed him. And they travel all over. They might come home at Christmas and say, "How are you? I am fine, bye."
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any more virtual or any more in person? Going once, going twice. Yes. All right.
This is a really hard question to ask, and you don't have to answer it. But, I'm very committed to my recovery process, which has been a really hard one, and there's trauma involved in my family. But what I need to ask you is, or just how about I just ask the question in general? You don't have to answer it because it's a hard one. But was there sexual abuse in your family? Are you an incest survivor?
Every single one of us were sexually abused. Me by a hired man at the age of 9, by a neighbor at the age of 13. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, these things have come up here.
Did we have any more questions online? And thank you for your honesty.
Okay, one more. Can you draw any links between the terms you use and the terms we hear in CoDA more broadly, specifically love/relationship addiction and anorexia that comes up in Peeling the Onion?
My mother was bulimic. She was bulimic from the age of 15, but I didn't find it out until after she died. She was extremely codependent. As far as I know, the rest of us all turned to alcoholism, not eating disorders. What was the rest of your question? I'm sorry. Can I draw a parallel between codependency and what?
Yes,
and what?
so I'll just reread it. Can you draw any links between the terms you used and terms we hear in CoDA more broadly. Specifically, love, it jumped. Love and relationship addiction, and anorexia that comes up in peeling the onion.
In my family, they called our behavior love. I mean, my dad, he loved us. He said he did. My mother, she loved us. Thing is, she didn't know how, he didn't know how, and I didn't know how. I think that in codependency, the word love, for me anyway, was genuinely meant when I got the program. For us, it's just a word. And as far as anorexia goes, I'm sorry, I can't really. I know a lot of people who are anorexic. I know it's an issue of control. I think it takes more than a codependency meeting to deal with it.
Further explanations talk about relationship anorexia.
Oh, relationship. Oh, okay. I guess I totally misunderstood your question. You mean people who avoid relationships or they sabotage them? They starve themselves. Is that what you're talking about with love and with relationships?
The response is yes.
Okay. Not sure how to answer that. I know people who have done that. I know people who avoid relationships because they're afraid or because they have social anxiety or for other reasons, but I'm sorry I can't totally answer your question.
Thank you, Evelyn. No more questions.
No more online. And last chance. Okay. Like you can give a lean in there.
Okay, you said what, that your parents and nobody knew how to love. This is probably a whole nother year workshop, but what is love? How does a healthy person express love? I don't know if you can even say that in less than 3 hours, but.
Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself. We got the love thy neighbor part. We never got as thyself part. And I don't think that anyone can actually love another person until they are comfortable with who they are and love themselves.
All right, I think we should end on that note because that's a beautiful note. And we're almost at time, so can we give it up for her? She gave a great workshop, got us all involved. I finally got to dance. Sorry, virtual people, you didn't get to experience that. Maybe sorry, or you're probably better off for it. And now we'll be taking a 30-minute break. Kathy, did you have something to say real quick? We just have one little announcement.
I'm Kathy. There was pamphlets handed out, not the poem, that is not CoDA approved. So if you want to talk to Evelyn outside, she did a fabulous workshop, please do. But that was our mistake on the events committee, and we very much apologize. We've had a lot of people upset about it, and I personally am very sorry. So accept our amends on events. And if you want to talk to Evelyn outside of this CoDA meeting, that's absolutely fine. So thank you. Sorry. I got concerns from the board.